Thank you.
You don't trust me, Sam.
Nah, mate, I don't trust you anymore. Your performance was so convincing, it was almost like it was you.
Everyone, this is Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Hello, Sam.
Just saying that this says it's going to go another month. They're saying 3 months minimum for anyone over 80.
Guys, I'm taking myself for walks like a dog out here.
3 months.
I can't do another month. Ricky, where are we at with the pilot now?
Nearly finished it. We're at 44 pages.
Is all our plans definitely going to be pushed back now?
Ricky, you're not filming people anymore, are you?
No.
That's a lie.
I'm at work and they reckon now that the virus is causing infections in the plant and still resistant to antibiotics.
Text him, asking if that a joke.
They're coming again next week.
They're coming next week. Actually, it's really weird, though.
You said you wasn't going to film.
No one's out, so I'm not infecting them.
Yeah, alright.
You're not emergency staff. Just being selfish. I'm worried about Ricky.
They were really nice.
Yes, I'm listening. I want to know what it is.
So, hello everyone, and welcome to this, I suppose, Q&A session about Jarl series that's been going on online. Isolation 85. So, welcome everyone. Welcome Rachel, Ricky, Larissa, and Emma. Hi guys. You can say hello, but
Hello.
You're right.
I suppose a question to you, Emma, as you
Yes.
you're chatting there. For those who don't know what Isolation 85 is, it's a web series, of course. How would you describe it to anyone that's kind of watching today?
It's an attempt at us entertaining ourselves while in lockdown. No, I mean it's sort of a sci-fi, but it was funny because we sort of said, oh, let's create a web series and just like invent bits of a story as we go along and create absurd things that could be happening whilst in lockdown as a response to the virus. And then what was weird is as we went along, we kept finding actual articles that supported what we were talking about. So it got really weird. I mean, some of it is definitely 100% fiction. I mean, most of it is. It's just the occasional thing would come up and we would be like, this is so bizarre. So that's what it is.
I think it's important to highlight that Isolation 85 is the umbrella for all our mini YouTube series.
Yeah.
So this one is actually under COVID-19 ON.
And in regards to that, a question to you, Rachel. So obviously with this series, I'm a huge fan of the series, by the way, guys. I've now watched it all the way through 3 times. Big fan. It's obviously a very sensitive subject, COVID-19. And I actually work for the NHS myself. So obviously I'm on the front line kind of thing and seeing everything going on. How did the writing process, etc., start for this, and how were you careful to kind of work with this sensitive subject?
First of all, you sure that should be a question for me? We did actually think of it, like, should we be careful how much, like, what should we be saying? And then we kind of thought, well, every single world disaster, anything, there are stories about it. It happens. We have to have our own take on it. That's why we didn't touch too much on certain, like, reports and like media information about COVID-19 itself. We took it in a new way, and that, well, like Emma said, the scary thing was we were completely making stuff up for the story, but then these articles would come out that would kind of support what we'd been saying. We were like, ah.
What I found most interesting while you're on that, and you talk about kind of what you see in real life versus what kind of was happening during the series. This is actually a question to you, Ricky, because of your very, very dramatic performance throughout, which I commend you for. Was there any part of your performance that you are feeling in real life, particularly with this kind of situation going on outside? Did you draw any of those feelings in that performance from feelings of yourself or your loved ones?
Well, because I'm a part-time carer, and so I look after my mum and that, and the first 2 weeks of the isolation, there was a lot of like massive panic in the shops and everything, so people were just buying out everything. There's always this thought on the head that I would never have enough to support her. There's this dread that you get, and then like the way that people look at you on the street in West Norwood, because everyone was just not trusting of each other at first, eyeing each other's shopping bags. It was really Walking Dead. Yeah, so elements of that and elements of wanting to do something, wanting to get out of this house, get out of this room.
So one thing I would say, and one thing that I noticed was a theme, which is why I think I got so invested in it, because of the four characters that feature, there is this whilst you're viewing, there's this feeling of all of these people are kind of deteriorating in their own ways, whether it be physically or whether it be kind of emotionally. One thing I've got a question for you, Larissa. I know that I had a little snoop on some things that Rachel sent me yesterday. I know you've done like stage and different things like this. What would you say your biggest challenge was, kind of getting your character across, or getting that character to kind of make the viewer feel things, if you will, via Skype, just as we're doing now?
Well, so Rachel actually called me one day and texted me. I was like, hey, can we have a conversation? I was like, sure. And she called me and she was like, we're doing this series and we really want you to jump on. I'm like, cool, okay. She's like, okay, we start tomorrow. So it wasn't your usual, I have my script, I can break down my character, I can understand where I was, where I'm going, who I am. It was very much, okay, we've done this, and this. The guys kind of updated me of what was going on. And then you kind of throw yourself into it and you see what happens, which is how the guys were working before. So it was all improvised within scripts, which I think is pretty cool, because we kind of had an idea. We would have a meeting before, get an idea of what that episode is going to consist of, and then we just film. We don't like it, we do it again, but most of the time it was natural there, right at that point, what comes out, and you get such tension and this kind of like feeling of, okay, we need to make this work, that you just become the character. It just clicks.
I suppose the freestyle method in this case, it really contributes towards the authenticity of the series itself. And I think that's probably why there were people that thought this was real. My question is to kind of all of you. We'll start off with perhaps Rachel. Were there any difficult conversations that took place?
Well, so one of our friends, once I went missing, he was trying to ring me and find me, and I messaged him really early the next morning, and he was about to get on his bike and come to my house because he said, thank you. He said English isn't just get my coffee brought.
Some people live a good life, don't they?
Yeah. No, so he rang me. He was about to come to my house because he said English isn't my first language, and I know it said something about it being a drama or something, but he was like, I don't know, I got confused. And you were missing, and I was ringing Ricky, and he was ignoring me, and he actually really had no clue what was going on. So, yeah.
Yeah, I had somebody call me, or email me, say I've been watching the little show you're doing, and say, I'm really sorry you're not feeling well. I was like,
oh my God, yeah.
They legit thought it was real, and I was like, no, I'm fine, I'm okay.
Your coughing was incredibly convincing, by the way. Oh. Yeah. I actually thought, I was like, mate, you want to stay away from her.
Yeah.
Might have the old virus. How about you, Ricky?
I did show the episodes to my mum, and like she thought it was totally. That's really dark and really sick. It's really scary.
Yeah. Ricky, you did such a good job that Sam didn't even like you for a while.
I actually, yeah. Funny enough, no, because all I hear about Ricky is how fantastic he is from Rachel, and I stalk all your stuff online anyway, mate. But your performance was actually, I think by kind of like episode maybe 6 or 7, I didn't actually like you, the way that you were acting. I was thinking, why is he being so horrible to everyone? And just to confirm, you're not walking around the streets taking shots or anything like that, putting people in danger, are you?
No. I'm not. I haven't left West Norwood in 4 weeks now. Is it 5 weeks? I can't remember. How long has this been going on for? I can't remember.
Plus, we're keeping him busy editing, so he doesn't have really much time.
Yeah, there's no
Yeah.
escape.
It's funny speaking to you guys, having watched you all, because obviously 3 of you I haven't met. Actually, Rachel's a very good friend of mine. I feel like every now and then, because obviously these characters are very much weaved in, because it was freestyle, into who you are as people. So even the way you're interacting now, there are similarities between here and the series. So I'm paranoid at the best of times. In a minute, like I'm on edge, thinking to myself, am I being dragged into series 2 right now? And these guys are going to start doing something crazy. I don't know. Someone's going to chop their arm off. Obviously, there's a lot of questions that were left after series 1.
Yeah.
And I was quite frustrated that when I found out that series 1 had finished, to be honest, because I was thoroughly enjoying it. I was really getting into the story, and I was very. I felt like I was on Skype to you guys every time I watched it. It was really, really great the way that you guys put it all together. Is there going to be a series 2? What can I expect from the future in terms of the Isolation series? Are we going to see anything else from you guys?
The COVID-19 ON.
Yeah.
Originally, we had been talking about doing a feature film that was about people with O negative blood, right? So we had originally talked about doing a sci-fi with that sort of at the heart of it. Because there are a lot of really interesting conspiracy theories about it, which Rachel loves to tell us about.
God, I know that. God, I know.
Actually, we had one day we were sitting around. I remember the conversation we had, and we were like, oh, I think it was me and you, maybe, Rachel, about O negative blood. And we literally went through the outline for a whole film. And then we were like, okay, well, we're in lockdown now. We can't do anything. And then suddenly you're like, oh, this would be a really interesting segue where we can go with this and explore the idea. And I guess if we were going to do anything else, I think we'd be hoping that we would write something around this. It's been weird because it's been such a creative process. It's kind of changed how we've looked at how we might approach things in the future. I don't know, because maybe we will just do improv scenes where we try something out and then we go, okay, well, we've recorded that. Let's take that and write it down or something.
So there's Isolation 85. I know this is part of a bigger universe, which, am I allowed to mention that? Ackerman 85 on here?
I mean,
I already did.
Yeah, you've done it. You've gone there.
But obviously, Rachel, you mentioned earlier on in the podcast that this ON COVID-19 is under this Isolation 85. Is there anything more from this tiny universe that you've made within the larger universe that we can expect from you guys? I sound like a real fanboy, don't I? But is there?
Love it.
Tell me there is.
Awesome. And this is like on the side of Ackerman 85. Like there is an association, like we've kept it a bit sci-fi.
Yeah.
But I think originally we were thinking about how you could possibly tie it in. We kind of not left it closed off, but like, and I think there could be options to work in. But right now, this is like just running its own, right?
Its own thing.
And it's a playground for us to sort of break the ice and get to know each other practically, because we've done a lot of creative writing together for the Ackerman 85, and this is our first go of actually filming, acting together and making magic. So and I've been really so fucking happy to work with these guys. They're just absolute awesomeness.
Yeah, that's actually been the best thing. I think for us it was like a little pressure cooker. And I mean, like Rachel and Ricky have done so much editing under pressure to get things out, and just seeing the work ethic, it just makes you feel like you're really part of something great, right? And it tested us beyond the writing, right? So it was it was awesome.
It's great because it kind of gave you a reason to keep going. I mean, lockdown can be testing, you have plans, you want to do this, you want to do that, you want to do the other, but actually getting up and doing them sometimes can be difficult, But these guys kept me personally motivated to kind of be there. Really great. But guys, today we're launching a little teaser, no?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
I was just about to say, all 4 of you media trained people completely swerved my question about what's next. and I asked it 3
Yeah.
times. So I'm so glad that I didn't have to ask a 4th time.
Well done, Larissa.
Tell me all about it, guys. Tell me all about it.
Well, we had this crazy idea of what it would be like to start your own cult during lockdown. Welcome to the children of Orion. I'm listening. So basically, this is what our next series is based on.
So Sam, basically, if you pay us £500 today,
I'm changing life.
So this is what the new series is about. That's interesting. And are you keeping with the sci-fi theme? Oh my God. We're going down the devil worshippers road, aren't we?
Yeah,
Good.
we're going
Yeah.
horror thriller. Did you say?
Yeah.
I think what we're interested in, and that's why we've went with this one, and what we've realized is the relationships between people and how they play out individually, and then how they play out when everybody's on screen, right?
I'm hooked.
I guess there's a lot to do with power and relationships that are underlying that you think are very obvious but come out under pressure, right? Having something like a cult, which is all about power and dominance, that creates a really interesting sort of conflict for us to start with, right?
we've kind of tried to sneak in like a questionable element of like, could there be some sci-fi in it? But is there? But really, it's what's come to light, which we didn't even plan, is when you're looking at a cult, it's so obvious to label a cult for what it is, but actually a lot of those same plays are in our everyday life as well. Won't say too much on it, but you know, it's true. It's like it's what goes unnoticed around. It's quite interesting, the similarities of cult mentality.
It's actually quite nice to hear you guys speak so passionately about something that you're about to start, and having just finished this recent. It seems like that we've got kind of 4 creators here that creative juices are in full flow during this lockdown.
Yeah.
So it's great to see, guys. Very inspirational. I suppose to wrap this up, guys, just with one last question to each of you. What's the one thing you've learned and will take forward from this series that you've just finished?
Understanding how to improvise and work with the story as it's actually happening and being played out has been the most interesting thing ever.
Character story arcs, and seeing, like, working with other writers and develop, like, listening and seeing how the plot like develops over the series, and you know, seeing what works and what doesn't work, and then taking that forward into the next ball of magic that we'll make.
Amazing. Larissa?
I think it's making those decisions while you're filming, those specific decisions, because you can go one way or you can go another way. Your character can decide to do either thing. So it really tested me as an actor, like, where am I going with this at that moment? Because it's not scripted, it's all improvised.
I think it's like, you know, you hear this classic sort of maxim that you're so much more creative with restrictions. And if you put something like, this is all you've got to record on, this is all you've got, and you can't see each other and you can't meet up and you can't do all of that stuff, and just how much that can actually feed into your creative process. Like, you can just become so much more, you just realize that your ideas about what creativity is and what a TV show should look like, or like a web series should look like, there's no formula you have to follow. You just have to force yourself to be creative, and the restriction of what we're doing allowed us to do that. So I think that's what I'll take away from it.
Amazing. Inspirational stuff, guys. Yeah, go on.
I have a question for you.
Yeah, go on.
Who is your favourite character and why?
Ricky, by far.
Okay, what about the messages being sent?
Oh no, I was concerned about Emma because she's a beautiful lady. She thought I wasn't going to say that as well.
Who does this work?
My heart broke when I think it was when was it? Episode 3? And I was like, oh, my wife she's getting ill. Where's she gone? It's
like, oh,
Irish. It's the Irish.
Oh, yeah.
Right, cool, guys. Other than that, we'll wrap it up there. If anyone hasn't seen the series, you can check it out on Isolation 85 COVID-19 on YouTube. There's 12 episodes. They're about 45 minutes long. Really, really great series, and I'd highly recommend. And that's it. Guys, I'll see you soon.
Thank you, Sam.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.